YouTube is TJ, and today, Black History Month. So I'm gonna start doing Black History Month videos. Take it day by day. Hopefully, I can start releasing videos day by day on these kind of topics, because this is suiting for Black History Month. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a great start to February. February came by pretty fast, y'all. In my opinion, but it's pretty cool. So second month of this new year. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing all right. Today we're going to talk about, honestly, this is a great topic. We're going to talk about the African presence in Spanish Florida. So this is a great topic because I can understand why there's such a push, and I don't think people understood this push, so I'm gonna spread some light on this push, but it makes sense. It makes sense on this accord. You see, when people talk about slavery, they talk about chattel slavery. That's the most highlighted form of slavery, because it's the most cruel form of slavery. If you don't know about chattel slavery is pretty much you are born into slavery. So if you have if you're a female, you get pregnant, your child is born, your child will be a slave, and their children will be a slave, and their children's children will be a slave. See, there's no escaping it, that's chattel slavery. The Spanish, they had slavery too, and the thing about the Spanish and the Portuguese is they were in the slave market. As far as the Europeans, they're in the slave market first. Of course, there's the Arabs. We might do a video on that because there was the Arab slave trade, which was before the European transatlantic slave trade. But in this topic, in this conversation, we're talking about Spanish Florida because the Spanish, they were bringing slaves, enslaved Africans from Africa into the new land. Because Spain and the Portuguese, they found the new land first, so they're the first ones in on it, and they realized the natives there were contagious to a lot of their diseases, and the work conditions were too harsh for them, so they're dying at a rapid rate. So they figured to bring enslaved Africans, who are very skilled at what they do, very, very skilled. And we'll touch base on that later. But they brought those Africans from Africa into the New World. They brought them to Cuba. They brought them to all of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican, Venezuela, Colombia, all over North and South America. The Portuguese brought majority of the slaves to Brazil. There's a huge population of enslaved in Brazil. Colombia has the second highest. I think we might have the third. So as Black Americans, we got to understand this situation that happened. It happened to a lot of us across the diaspora. We got to stop thinking that we're the only ones affected by this. There's a lot of us all across America that were affected by this. And Spanish Florida was one. So the Spain brought a lot of enslaved Africans to Florida. They brought these Africans there in the 1500s. The English didn't start building colonies, Jamestown and Virginia, until the 1600s. So technically, enslaved Africans were here before the British, which, separated and became Americans. So yes, technically, we were here before y'all. So yeah, of course the Native American was here first. We got to stop thinking we mix with the Native Americans. You know what I mean? That's what we do. We can mix. You know, I got Choctaw in my blood. That don't make me a Choctaw. I know who I am. I got that blood in me, but that don't make me who I am. I'm African, as most of us are. You know? So let's get into this video. That's just a preset, you guys. I just want to set the table for you guys on the history of this. Y'all can research that on yourselves on your own time. But we're gonna watch this video for context, and we're not gonna watch the whole video, of course, but we'll get into it.
So this particular settlement was not just a black town or a Seminole village. It contained all kinds of people: Seminoles, black Seminoles, free people. And
see, there's a distinction between that. There's Seminoles, of course, the natives. You got your enslaved Africans, and then you got your free Africans. Now these free Africans, they came from across all of Hispaniola, from Cuba, from Dominican, from Haiti, everywhere, you know, because the Spanish practiced a different kind of slavery. They practiced, they didn't practice chattel slavery. They practiced, you could buy, there's certain rights that you could do. You could buy yourself out. It wasn't like your child was born, he was born into it. They had different kind of things, you know what I mean? All slavery is bad, but we got to understand the distinctions between the two practices that was going on in the Americas. These guys, let's continue.
People who were escaping from plantations wound up there also.
So you got to understand. So I wanted her to finish that, because there was enslaved Africans from the Carolinas when the British did start coming there, when the British did start building settlements and from Virginia, and they started building more settlements into the Carolinas. The enslaved Africans from there, they started to escape all the way. They had to pass through South Carolina all the way to Florida, you know, to what we now know as Florida, you know. So there was a big community that was growing there. Let's continue.
And it was in existence, we believe, between 1812 and 1821.
So between those are presence all the way there. Understand, from really from the 1500s. That's when they first started going there, all the way to 18. So dang, that's a lot.
In 1821, General Andrew Jackson, no friend of
if y'all don't know anything about Andrew Jackson, he was a racist, a clear racist, and he wanted to erase any kind of history of these people, and they're tied to the land. Let's continue.
Blacks or Indians, decided that he wanted to destroy this thriving community. I mean, they had miles of crops. They were thriving. And that was totally unacceptable to him. And so he requested of the Secretary of War that he be able to go in and destroy it. The Secretary of War said no. So
Secretary of War said no. So he wanted to go to war. You understand? With these people. He was going to war with a lot of tribes and communities that was building in America, you know? So this ties into Black Wall Street too. Every time we tried to build something, they destroyed. And it's more than just one Black Wall Street. I just want people to understand that it's not just Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was Black Wall Streets booming across the nation. And each one, especially in the South, believe it or not, but every single time they destroyed it.
Jackson came up with a different plan. He decided to recruit some of his Indian allies, the Coweta Indians, and they came in and destroyed Angola.
You see, that's what they do. That's what they do. They'll pay someone else to do their bidding. You know? This is their war tactics, man. This is war tactics. We got to learn it too.
So In this battle, there were about 300
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
people captured, according to records. But we only have what happened to 59 of them actually documented in the documents that we've located so far. And I must mention that part of the team of looking for Angola is an historian, Cantor Brown Jr., who has done incredible work in finding.
Y'all can research this. This is a lot of knowledge. This is one with a lot of knowledge. I just want to show people with a lot of knowledge so that I don't seem like I'm just spewing out the mouth on the things I be talking about.
These kinds of documents that give us information about what exactly happened. As you can see this list, it says the following is a correct statement of the disposition made of the Negroes on the enclosed descriptive list. Some were delivered to people as they were previously owned.
You see, we had a great settlement going on in Florida, y'all. It was booming in Florida, bruh. It was booming in Florida, dog. I'm telling you. They said, we can't have this. You see? You see, folks? This is black history y'all don't hear. This is black history that they don't talk about. They're going to keep talking about the same stuff over and over and over again about a dude who died for a dream that they didn't keep him alive long enough to even see or realize or construct or criticize or direct. And then to mock him, to humiliate him, they throw his name on every dangerous block in the hood. Just Google MLK Boulevard and just look at how many news stories pop up. They did that on purpose. It's not by mistake. Let's continue.
But what the arrow points to is that 9 of them ran away after their capture. And this is part of the list of the names of the people that they had captured. Their names, their description, their color, their skin color. Most were black, some were yellow, meaning they were mulatto or mixed, possibly mixed with Indian or with white. And you see their former owner is also listed. And I've starred 2 of these people for a reason. One of the things that happened when I did a year of research in the Bahamas, which is where some of the Black Seminoles escaped to.
See, folks, we're all connected. We got to stop being so divisive. That's why I don't like FBA anything. Because understand something. We were taken somewhere to somewhere else. We're connected to the diaspora. All of us. We blended with these communities. All of us. We had to. Survival instincts. Come on now, y'all. But we're all one. I don't care if you're Jamaican. I don't care if you Colombian. I don't care. Like if your ancestry leads back to them ships coming, you part of us. You one of us. Our family was separated somewhere. Mother from daughter, father from son, going on different boats, going different places. Separation of families, y'all. You can have blood ties from someone from in Brazil. You can have blood ties from someone from Haiti. You can have blood ties from all these different places, and you don't even know. We're all one. It should be only one goal. Shouldn't be no separation. That's why I don't get down with FBA. We're all one. And shout out to my bad, y'all.
None of the descendants there knew about the specific place in Florida where their ancestors came from. And so that was a question in my mind about how are we ever going to find out? And fortunately, again, with Dr. Brown's research, he came up with these documents that showed these names. Well, you know, oftentimes blacks took on the surname of their so-called masters.
That's right.
Many of us have the names of people who planted.
Exactly. So if your name leads back to a slave owner's name, then you should know the history of yourself. You were blood ties with, your family, your generations came from the slave, not the free people of, that was going on.
Stations our people came from. Well, in this case, the Black Seminoles took on the name of their owner. As Mr. Griffin mentioned, to be a slave of a Seminole was not to be like a chattel slave of a European. You had pretty much your own autonomy as long as you paid your portion of your harvest.
See, understand, folks, there was different forms of slavery that was going on. The most evil form, and like I said, slavery now, the difference between, I'll say this, folks, slavery didn't end. Chattel slavery ended. Chattel slavery ended. Slavery didn't end. The way you work and stuff like that, it's a form of slavery. It's wage slavery.
To the chief.
And that's basically what that form of slavery is, indentured servant. That's basically what you are. Stop paying your taxes. Stop paying all your bills. See what happens. You a slave to the system, There's a system that you're a slave to. And that's what they perfected, That's what capitalism is. It's the perfection of that system, of the slavery system. Continue.
And so Prince was owned by Peter McQueen, who was also a mixed Native American. And Prince, what happened to him? He ran away. Again, Scipio down here, Sipsa, as they've written it in, but we believe it's Scipio, and he was Bowleg's, one of Bowleg's slaves. And what happened to him? He ran away. And these two names, Prince McQueen, Scipio Bowlegs, are very important in the history of those who wound up on Andros Island. Now again,
they ran away and they went to the Bahamas. And that's why you see those names in the Bahamas. Those names that you just highlighted in the Bahamas. That's pretty wild, right? That's pretty wild, right? I see we're all connected, man. We're all connected in some way.
Some of the battles wound up.
And that's why they focus so much on chattel slavery, and they don't focus anything on like the other practices of slavery, because then you're going to get in the conversation of Spain and how Spain had these enslaved people here 100 years before them. And then you can really have the argument, that we were technically here before them. Do you understand? As long as some of us lived, But they try to make sure the ones in Florida didn't live, And the only ones that could say something were the ones that were really enslaved, in chattel slavery,
Moving a lot of the Black Seminoles west, and I'll talk more about that later. But
see, relocation. Relocate them.
A small number, we would believe anywhere between 200, 250, actually escaped over to the Bahamas. Now, the Bahamas at that time was controlled by the British. The British were friends or allies of the Seminoles. They've been trading partners, etc., and they had given assurances to the.
See, look at that connection right there. It's weird, right?
Seminoles that if the Americans try to intrude upon your land, or you need our help, come and we will help you. So on 3 occasions, the Seminoles took delegations to Nassau, which is right here, the capital, and they were turned away. So,
wow, they were turned away. Wow. See how them folks do us? See how them folks do us? They say one thing and leave you behind on the boat looking in. But do the same thing to Haiti, y'all. They isolated Haiti, man. Haiti kicked them French's asses, bro. They said, nah, we can't have this happen. No black power empowerment over here. Because there was a lot of us over here. And we was doing a lot of great things over here. It was booming. Y'all, I want to touch on St. Augustine, While the slaves were there in St. Augustine, Florida, what is now St. Augustine, Florida, we built St. Augustine, Florida. Research it, folks. Research it, folks. You know, this is before the British were there. We had cities going and booming over here. This is history don't tell you, y'all. You can find it right here. Let's continue.
They knew they had to get out of Florida because it was 1821, Angola had been destroyed. A lot of blacks were whoever escaped were trying to run and get away from the United States any way they can.
See, I might stop this here. I am gonna stop it here. Y'all can watch this video. It's very interesting, very interesting, very interesting Black history. Y'all leave your your thoughts on this topic, and I'm gonna continue, man. I'm gonna try to do these every day. Bring y'all just different conversation on Black history. I'm just tired of the same old spill. You were slaves, you were this, you were that. Man, let's talk about, if y'all want to talk about some stuff, let's talk about some stuff. You know, what we were really doing over here. You know, this is TJ signing out. Peace.